All right. Well, as you can see, got my hinges on the side door. Stainless screws, number 10, 24. Got some 1-inch fender washers. Got some nylock nuts. And I didn't film this one, but I'll film installing one of the hinges on the other door right here. And you'll see. Let me get the camera here. Okay, so what I did was I took some Lexel sealant and I put it inside the holes that I drilled out on the other side, and I passed the screws through, and I went ahead and put some Lexel on the back side of these fender washers, put the fender washer down on that, and as I screwed this nylock nut, the Lexel that's on the tip of this screw was actually threaded onto the nylock, so it's even that much more sealant. So it's sealed from the back side, from the outside, all the way through to the inside. So I am confident that these will not leak. The only thing that I did notice, and I backed these hinges up. I backed these hinges up all the way to where it was just bumping the trim. Here, see we're just barely touching the trim, because I wanted as much gap as I can get between the door jamb and the door on the hinge side. It is going to be less of a gap on the hinge side than it will be on the other three sides, simply because the size of the trim that I'm using, the 1/2 inch plus the 1/2 inch. Anyway, I'll show you all that when I get to that. But when I screwed these down, when I snug everything down, you can barely see. If you look here, the trim was really tight against the edge of this door. And where I put the hinge, it actually, I pushed down on the, when I screwed everything down, I pushed down on the edge of the outer trim, and that caused this sidewall to kind of bow out towards this side of the hinge. And you can kind of see it's just got a little slight gap. Well, what I did is I just took a little hammer. I just took a little hammer and kind of tapped it all back. Hopefully that little bit doesn't interfere with the function of the door, but we will see. Okay, so I'll show you guys how I'll put these hinges on. But first, let's talk about these hinges. I got these hinges from Scott over at Compact Camping Concepts, $12.99 a piece. They're not bad, actually. Let's see if you can see that. He's in Oregon. I ordered this. I got on October 28th of last year, and today is March 21st of 2020. So yes, I've been working on this for a while. So anyway, $12.99 a piece is not bad. What I do like about these hinges is these hinges have the steel bushing rather than a nylon bushing, and I think they will wear better over time than the nylon bushing. It may make a little noise. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. So anyway, what I want to do though is I want to measure everything for you guys, because I know that was a big question I had, just not knowing what size are these hinges. You know, no one could really give you a good description on all these websites. I mean, I found some on eTrailer, I found some on Amazon, you know, but you just there's no real good description of these. So I can tell you this much: the holes, and that's what Scott, if I'm not mistaken, Scott did that on his description. He tells you that these are drilled out for a number 10 screw. Okay, flat head. I went with the oval head because I just like the look of the oval head versus the flat head. So it will. I mean, it's made for that. So it's a number 10 screw. Boom, perfect fit. So got that out the way, and it's gonna be 6 screws per hinge, 3 on each side. As far as measurements go, the total length of this hinge. Let's see. I'm gonna do it like this. Yeah. So the total length of this hinge is 5.5 inches total from the back to the front. 5.5 inches. The strap portion is 1 7/8 at its widest point. Okay, and it comes down to roughly 1 inch on the end. The length, as you can see, it's flat and then it comes up. And that gives you clearance to go over your edge and your trimming. So I'll give you that measurement. That measurement is 3 inches. So you got 3 inches before the hinge starts to rise. 3 inches of flat, and then the rise to the pin mechanism. I don't know what you call that. Pin hinge part of the hinge. Anyway, so 3 inches, then it comes up, and you're looking at 1 1/8 total width of from the hinge, from the attachment point to here. This part here is 1 1/8 inches wide. Yeah, 1 1/8, and it's 3 3/16 long. What other measurements could I give you guys? Height. The overall height. It looks really close to the overall height of the hinge. It will stick out. It will protrude 7/8 from the side of your wall. So it comes out 7/8. It's a 7/8 inch high from here to the wall. I think that's it. I'm using a 3/16 bit to drill the hole for these number 10 bolts. But I am kind of, I'm not going to wallow it out. I'm not going to drill out any extra too much. But I did notice that, and that's with any time you're drilling through plywood, I find you can have the perfect sized hole in solid wood, and this bolt will pass perfectly through there. You could drill the same size hole in plywood, and I guess it's just the fibers in the wood, but when you try to push that bolt through that hole, there is some resistance, and it's really, really hard to get through. So I'll just kind of work that drill bit just a tad. It's my wife's favorite word. Just a tad to kind of free it up, and I still have to push it down, but it's not near as much force needed after I kind of clean it out a little bit. So anyway, for my doors, this is the hinge side. That's the top. So my door on the back is 28 inches tall. Actually, they're both 28 inches tall. My cooler side and the back door 28 inches tall. What I'm doing is I'm putting my hinges 4 inches from the edge of each, 4 inches away from the top and 4 inches away from the bottom. And as you can see, it's 28, so it's 24. That's to the bottom of the hinge. To the bottom of here is 4 inches. The top of the hinge to the top of the door is 4 inches. That's what I plan on doing, so I'll go ahead and actually measure these better, make my marks, and get going with this. So. Now I used, it's got the fine point. I find if you center, just make a little center punch hole, it makes starting that hole with the drill bit that much easier. Okay. All right. So, just to give you a little bit better view, and that's what I'm using. I'm using this Lexel, sticks to almost anything, instantly waterproof, cured sealant, mildew resistant, paintable. I mean, dude, I've used it before, and yeah, this is some good stuff. So I just give it a little squirt inside the bolt hole, make a little mound, one hole, two hole, three hole. All right, okay, so I'm taking these. Put this on the back side. And you can lay it down below because that's what I'll need on the other. There is Lexel all over the threads, like I was saying earlier. Regardless if any kind of lock washer fails on these things, I don't think it's going anywhere simply because of that Lexel sealant adhesive. So that's what I'll do is I'll use this and I'll back up on the back with a box and wrench. So as you can see, that's all the squeeze out. So what I'll do is I'll come back with my bolt cutter, or just I'll come back with my bolt cutter, and I'll just snip off this extra length and then file down the little points that'll be left from it. So that's it. Let me get to this side. So anyway, that's this door. I will go ahead and cut the bolts on the side door, and you'll have to excuse the noise. My neighbor's cutting his grass. But I'm already sensing an issue with I will need to do one or two things. I will need to somehow cut out a piece of my trim right here on this, to where this part of the hinge can attach flush. If I want to keep this size gap, I'll have to trim this out, top and bottom. Now the other thing that I could do is I could get, I could cut out a piece of that 2" by 1/16 flat bar. I can cut it to where it would fit, and I can mount it behind here, but I'd have to lift the hinge well, because I want this flush. I want this flush, so I'd have to raise both the door side and this side. Okay, I'm back. So what I went ahead and I removed this trim piece and I cut it out so that the hinge could fit up against it and give me a little bit more gap between this. But hey, I think it could be just fine. Okay. No pencil, people. It's okay. That is gonna be all right. Wow, huh? Yes, indeed. Wow. Alright, so this has just been a mess. You know that? This is just a mess. It's alright. Okay. Oh man. Whatever. So, let me reapply some of this. Apply some there. This is a sticky situation, as you can about imagine now. Everything is getting sticky. I mean, okay. That looks a lot better. I'm glad I did that. I'm really glad I did that. All right. But there's, oh man, I keep seeing it. Man, I'm getting way ahead of myself here. Way ahead of myself here. But that's okay. Where's the door latch on here? I've already siliconed everything together. Screwed and glued. Cut the bolts off here. But in all honesty, the best thing that I can do at this point, I mean, I could just unscrew these. And I should unscrew these. I should remove this. That way I can lay this on the bench and cut out my door latch. Yeah, I'm getting way ahead of myself here. But at least I know it turned out all right. It did. Okay, folks, so, yeah, you saw that little debacle. Anyway, so I've got my door off again. Now, I need to cut out my door latch. One more little. Okay, so, that should be it. Alright, that's trimmed up. So now I know that if I trim on the end, if I mark on the inside of this foam, I should be fine. But I will give myself like just a little bit extra ooze factor. Yeah, I don't want to bump it up against this molding. Don't want to do that. Alright. Let's see if I can do this. I gotta be able to see. Wow. Hi-yo! Thing came with a little gasket. That took less time than what I thought it would take. Alright folks, I got her back on. I just put my little latch there, just temporary. I don't have any door seals on yet, so. But hey man, I think it turned out pretty good so far. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to clean all this off. And I'm going to put my my trim pieces back on. Because remember I had to repaint them. I'm going to put them all back on. And I'll take another picture. Alright, see you guys when the trim is back on.